What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 41, where we are talking about records, record holders, and rodents.
Party people, how you feeling?
What's going on? I hope you have had a fantastic week, or if you're listening to the audio of this, I hope it is a wonderful beginning of the week for you right here on a Monday. Tonight, as I said, we are going to be talking about records, record holders, and rodents, and they actually have nothing to do with each other. We're going to jump right into Fast Facts. All right, up first, we have a very weird one that has nothing to do with any of the three things I just mentioned, but it was started this week. Elon Musk's X, aka former Twitter, aka Dumpster Fire, has now made all likes private. That's right. If you like a post, the rest of the world can't see it. Now, here's who can see it: the person whose post you liked. So, the idea behind this was basically, as most people can assume, most people are thinking, why would Elon Musk do this? Well, it's real simple. Elon Musk likes things that might be controversial. Also, some very influential people have liked things that can be a little controversial, like when the Pope's account liked, I think this was Instagram though, but like the Pope liked some bikini-clad model, and everybody's like, what? And it turns out it was a intern or whatever they called it. You know, it was some low-level staffer, as they like to blame. So you get stuff like that. So the idea behind it is basically privacy. And I don't disagree with that, but I do think it's interesting that on X now, if you like something that is private, you can see what you liked, and the people, whoever posts the thing you liked, they can see that you liked it. There's no way to block that yet. So, for example, if a very religious person, perhaps a certain political persuasion in the United States, if they were very religious and they decided that they were going to start liking, gay strippers, that would be a secret to the rest of us. We wouldn't know that. However, the account that they liked the posts from can publish that, because they'll have the notifications. They'll be like, yeah, this was liked by da-da-da-da-da. So they could publish that. So it's not an entirely foolproof protection, but it is what it is. So, the other thing is on this. So on X, there used to be on the far right of a profile, it was a likes tab. That likes tab is now gone for everybody except yourself. You can see your own likes there. But beyond that, nobody else has that tab anymore to look at others. So moving on, let's talk about records. This is the first reference of records, ladies and gentlemen. Chestnut, the very famous, very, very, very famous record-holding Twitch streamer, shattered a viewership record. He recently did a collab with Kevin Hart and Drewski, and there's anytime Kai does stuff, there's like 12 people in the room, so who the hell knows what's going on? But anyways, his almost most recent broadcast as of the recording, 720,000 viewers. Concurrent viewers. That means 720,000 some odd people were watching at one time. He broke Ninja's record. Now, the interesting thing was, I study this, if I see somebody is doing something interesting, I'll go check out a stream, or if I want to study how somebody has been really effective at titling their streams, things like that, I'll go and I'll do the research and I'll take a look at their account. By chance, the night this happened, I was looking at like what I call top tier streamers, it was half of 1% type people. And there was Kai, and I was like, holy shit, that guy's got 560,000 viewers. So I go and I was like, oh, it's Kevin Hart again. He was doing this fun thing. It was basically what's in the box, and Kevin Hart, which I think Kevin Hart is stupidly funny. That guy he knows comedy. He knows audiences really well. Kevin Hart is famously petrified of everything. He is just a giant scaredy cat. So I was like, okay, this is going to be really cool. And then they brought out a raccoon, and I was like, oh, Kevin Hart's going to die. It truly was entertaining. I don't find Chestnut that entertaining. I see why others do. I absolutely get his entertainment value. I absolutely get his high energy. But just not my exact thing, but this thing with Kevin Hart, and then he had Drewski in there. It was really, really cool to watch how they were reacting to this, how they were hyping things up. And you had Kevin Hart, who doesn't know a ton about streaming. I think he's learning about it now a lot through Kai. But Kevin Hart is there, and like he's going up to the computer and he's checking the stats. He's like, oh no, you got 480,000 people, man. Like Kevin Hart has never had 480,000 people of anything. Like you can't put that many people in the biggest stadium on the planet. So it was insane insane to watch. And I think it's really cool that it's kind of exposing other other celebrities that make, that they are creators. I think it's good to expose them to the power of live streaming. That's the one thing. And we're going to talk about that in a second because Dan Clancy talked about Kick. It's not technically on tonight's agenda, but I'm going to mention it anyway. So I thought it was really, really cool that Kai, through his position in the world of live streaming, through, basically sitting upon that throne and holding so many records, the most subscribed channel, now the most concurrent viewers for a single streamer, not for an event, things like that. He's able to bring in other celebrities and be like, yeah, look how cool this is. Look how fun this can be. Look how you can kind of break out of the walls. You got to remember a lot of the mainstream celebrities, they're stuck in boxes of corporations. Live streamers, for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, aren't. Live streamers, we can do what we feel like because we're not truly beholden to a corporate overlord like a movie studio or a TV studio or something like that. So I think that's pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, so Kai Cenat brought on some guests and busted the viewership record for a single streamer, 720,000 concurrent viewers at one time. In fact, he went live just before I started recording this and already was up to like 86,000 viewers, I think. So it's just, there's a lot for people like myself to learn from Kai Cenat, not necessarily to copy it, but just to understand how he's engaging with an audience and how he's getting more and more attention. So, all right, up next, let's go. Record holders and record breakers. Record holder. So Kai Cenat broke a record. Record holder is what we're about to talk about, and that is Joey Chestnut. If you are not familiar with Joey Chestnut is the 16-time champion of Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. It happens every year on July 4th weekend. The famous hot dog chain Nathan's, they put on a hot dog eating contest. It brings in the biggest, what do they call them? Food. Shit, hold on. There's a specific thing. They're not foodie. So the organization is called Major League Eating, and it oversees all these professional eating events. It could be hot dogs, steaks, whatever. Who cares? Anyways, so Joey Chestnut is the 16-time champion. The guy can pack away food in a record amount of time, and it's really both fascinating and sad to watch. That being said, he's been to this event for 20 years. He will not be allowed to compete this year, and the reason is an interesting one. Again, this is hosted by Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs. Okay? Joey Chestnut this year, just recently, signed an endorsement deal with a different hot dog brand. So they said, sorry, you're signed to a rival. We're not letting you on our stage. Kind of crazy, right? Like, of all the things, it's like, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You don't want him promoting another brand, but at the same time, your competition should be bigger than that. Like, I don't know. Anyways, organizers of Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest said Tuesday that they banned Joey Chestnut from the July 4th event after he signed an endorsement deal with Impossible Foods, which recently launched a new marketing campaign specifically targeting meat eaters. Impossible Foods makes vegan hot dogs. They're meatless. They're plant-based. So their whole thing is you don't need a meat hot dog. You can eat ours and enjoy it. Literally attacking the organizers of the event, indirectly, but still. So that was kind of crazy, right? Yeah. Up next, this was a sad one. If you are involved in the world of sports, you probably know Jerry West. He was a legendary Lakers guard. He was a mentor after the fact. He was a coach. He was, just absolute icon in the world of basketball. And when I say icon, I literally mean it. Jerry West was the person who is the inspiration. He's the photo for the NBA logo. A lot of people don't know this. That is not a random silhouette of some dude playing basketball. That is Jerry West. After they made him the logo, his nickname became The Logo. It's Jerry the Logo West, or Jerry West the Logo. Like, he passed away this week at the age of 86. So obviously, definitely lived a full life as far as I could tell by my judgment. Very well respected also in his industry. A lot of people loved, I guess the guy had a really big heart. He was always giving. He was compassionate. He was a true leader of people. So Anyways, yeah, Jerry West, the NBA Hall of Famer, aka the Logo, has passed away at the age of 86. We wish him and his family well, because hopefully he is resting in peace, which that's pretty much the only option I think you have. Let's see. And then where did it go? Oh, that's right. I was looking for his other nickname. I forgot it. It was Mr. Clutch. He was legendary. Up next, this was a fascinating one because, as many of you know, I enjoy myself a good spicy food. Well, in the EU, turns out they're a little weak in the tummy. Denmark and eventually the EU recalled a spicy ramen for being too spicy. Denmark recalls Korean ramen for being too spicy. The fiery flavors of the Samyang instant ramen line are being withdrawn. Bulldog 3X spicy and hot chicken, 2X spicy and hot chicken, and the hot chicken stew. Denmark has recalled several ramen noodle products by the South Korean company, claiming that the capsaicin levels in them could poison consumers. I don't know how hot that has to be, but that's pretty damn hot. Spice to the level of poison. So, Samyang says there's no problem with the quality of the food. Denmark's food agency issued a recall warning on Tuesday, urging consumers to abandon the product. The company said, we understand that the Danish Food Authority recalled the products not because of a problem with their quality, but because they were too spicy. The products are being exported globally, but this is the first time they've been recalled for the above reason. Literally, the Scandinavians are like, ouchie, in my tummy is too hot. So now, what does Jug want to do? Jug wants to do something real simple. Jug wants to go buy this and try it for you on stream. Should I? You tell me. Leave it down in the comments, please, which, by the way, you can do on YouTube, or if your favorite podcasting service, which you might be listening to this now, if that allows comments, you can drop your comment there as well. I will check those out. I always check those out, so thank you. Where did it go? Ah, yes. It emphasized the warning for children for whom extremely spicy food can cause harm. The notice has sparked heated discussion online, including in the PJParty community, with many amused reactions from lovers of spicy food. That would be me. Many have made assertions about the Danes' low tolerance for spice. I had a friend from Denmark who thought tasteless breaded shrimp with a little bit of ground pepper on it was too spicy. Not surprised they think this ramen is poison. And that's the thing, is what I can't find is how the Danes officially say, yes, this is potentially poisonous. Can spice absolutely? Yes, it can kill you. 100%. If you get it so high that it literally starts shutting down organs, yes. A, that's not poison. B, how hot does that have to be? That's what I want to know. Let's move on to our final element of Fast Facts tonight. This is a fun one. But I think it's also controversial. I'm not going to get too deep into this because I would just want to leave this in your thoughts. But the last Fast Facts we have tonight, I'm just going to read this. The Pope and 100 comedians walk into a room. If you're familiar with global politics, there is a group called the G7. It is intended to be the largest capitalist economies in the world. 7 of them. There used to be 8, but they kicked out the Russians. I don't think the Russians technically qualified anyway, but that's not really the point tonight. So here's the deal. The G7 gets together every year. G7 meets, and they're supposed to, discuss world politics and solve major financial issues and blah, blah, blah. Great. Cool. Obviously, they're talking about Ukraine this year a lot. So the Pope decided that he was going to have his own conference. Now, the Pope will actually be speaking at the G7 meeting. He's going to be speaking on an AI panel, oddly enough. He is, for the most part, warning against the dangers of AI. That is the Pope's, the sort of the Vatican's official stance on AI is that, where it can be used for good, great, but we need to be very, very cautious about how it gets implemented. That's fine. Good for you, Papy. Here's the deal. He decided that in addition to that appearance, he was going to have his own meeting, which he already had. He wanted to have 100 comedians from around the world come in so that he could share with them and sort of collaborate on the power of laughter. What is the role of humor in civilization and politics and global conflict? How does it help bring people together? I think that's great. Fantastic. I love the concept. I wish more, especially politicians, and regardless of your thought about him religiously, he is a politician. He is a head of state and a head of government. So he brings it, and by the way, this was a lot of Americans, not a ton of internationals, but Whoopi Goldberg, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Conan O'Brien, Chris Rock, lots and lots of Tig Notaro, which I thought that was a trip. So anyway, so this is kind of my point. Tig is kind of sending me down the rabbit hole here. The Pope, the man who leads a 2 millennia old institution, which has railed against the demented or evil status of everything from women to gays, invites Whoopi Goldberg and Tig Notaro and others, I'm sure there were other LGBT representatives there, to the Vatican, and they went. And they both said very nice things. They were happy to meet the Pope. They were happy to be part of this event, blah, blah, blah. But what I wanted to leave you with tonight was this. His organization demonizes them on a regular basis, in writing and in word. They go and they break bread with the man. They have a conversation with him. They have they have this conference. Does that help or does that hurt? That's what I'm stuck on this one. Was this an opportunity to sort of break ground and show, hey, we're good people too? Is that sort of the point of an LGBT person who might be going? Is it, can we do this through the power of humor and congeniality and things like that? Or do we have to oppose each other virulently? And I think I don't know if I can promise you it's not an easy answer. So I thought it was interesting. I'm glad that the Vatican hosted this event. I think looking at these more human elements instead of political, war-torn weapon, antagonistic, I think looking at how do we come together as a people, great. But there's some underlying issues with this particular event and the list that they chose as guests. And I think that's something that both sides need to figure out is why do we go or why do we invite? So I thought that was an interesting one. Let's move on to science. This was interesting. I want you to think about this question in addition to the last one I just asked you. Here's my next question. How different would your life be if you hatched instead of if you were born? Weird concept, right? What if humans were born from eggs? What if we hatched? Here's why I ask. The echidnapus, which, fun name, the echidnapus hints at a lost age of egg-laying mammals. Right now, there's only two. There are only two mammals on the entire planet that lay eggs. The echidna and the other one, the platypus. Sorry, I just said it. The echidna and the platypus. Those are the only two mammals that lay eggs in the world. So it's weird. Mammals don't do that. Mammals have live births, except for those two species. But they're finding more evidence that there may have been a time millions of years ago where mammals laid eggs. The Australian platypus is one of the Earth's most unusual creatures, but there was a time when it might not have stood out in a crowd. In roughly 100-million-year-old rocks in Australia, scientists have unearthed 3 new species of monotremes, a group of egg-laying mammals that today include only the platypus and the other Australian oddball, the echidna. By the way, they're both adorable animals, so I don't know, if eggs make things more cute, more eggs, please. Great. The fossil discoveries double the number of known monotreme species during the brief span of the Cretaceous period, hinting at a bygone age of monotremes. Now, this was a big study. They had to do the research on it. They had to figure out timelines. They had to look at the fossils, et cetera, et cetera. The modern platypus, which is native to eastern Australia and Tasmania, is one of the weirdest creatures on Earth. It is toothless, duck-like bill, beaver-like tail, otter-like feet, and their bills are also electrosensory organs that allow them to detect prey in murky waters. Platypi are cool, all right? But there may have been a time, 100 million years ago-ish, there's a big ish around that number, where mammals were laying eggs regularly. That's interesting, right? The 3 new Cretaceous species, along with new specimens of 3 previously identified extinct monotremes, were identified from fossil teeth and jaws found in the Lightning Ridge opal fields of New South Wales. By the way, if you like opals, you should probably know this. Lots of them come from Australia. For whatever reason, Australia is just resplendent with opal. It's kind of cool, actually. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. These modest fossils, particularly when compared with previous found fossil monotremes, provide a wealth of information, the team notes. The animal's relative sizes and number of orientation of teeth, even the likely position on the family tree. Of the newfound species, one was officially named Opelius splendus, and it got the nickname the echidnapus. The jokes write themselves, folks. It had a mix of features which are found in modern echidnas and platypuses. Now, this says platypuses, but I was once told that the plural of platypus is platypi. Say that sentence. The plural of platypus is I screwed it up. The traits suggest that it was an ancestor of both. Another of the new species, Parvopalus clytie, is among the smallest monotremes ever found, roughly the size of a rat. The third, the Daragara aurora, is the earliest known species of platypus. By the way, if anybody ever tells you that there's no record of evolution, yes, there is! I just read 3 of them about one stupid little species about platypi. Yes, there is! Moving on. The discoveries also reveal a slow progression in monotremes from toothy to toothless. Cool. The earliest known monotreme, I couldn't read this before stream either. Taenolophus trusleri, I'm guessing that's correct, was a beakless, shrew-sized creature that lived about 130 million years ago. It only had 5 molar teeth, but by 100 million years ago, the newly discovered species suggest some monotremes had only 3 molars, while modern platypi and echidnas, I'm going to say platypi, by the way. The article keeps saying platypuses. No, we're saying platypi. It's funner. Modern platypi and echidnas are essentially toothless. The shift may be related to a change in diet to softer, more slippery food, leaving crunchier fare like crustaceans and insects to the newly arrived competitor from New Guinea, the water rat. That's interesting. I think that's cool. So anyways, could you imagine if mammals had egg births instead of live births? Good times. Let's move on. Our final topic for the night is, speaking of rodents, not that anything I just... I did say rat. Okay. I became aware of this, I think it was yesterday. This is the weirdest thing. I'm sitting there reading through my news sites. I'm checking out what's going on with the war. I'm checking out what's going on with the Chinese military. I'm checking on what's going on with the economy. And then this article pops up. It was like the page refreshed itself. And this article pops up and it says, I got to go find, oh shit. Oh, I got rid of the headline. Damn it. But it was something like the new hot rodent men craze. And I'm like, this is where things get dangerous. What are we doing? Why are we sexualizing animals again? Make it stop. No, turns out that's not what it was. There is a new trend that started when somebody started comparing a couple of Hollywood male celebrities to rats or mice. It could be mice. It doesn't really matter. It's rodents. And they were comparing them and saying, okay, they're hot rodents. And when I say that, let me explain how detailed this got. One person said, you can keep your... Oh, God, what was the tweet? I got to find this original tweet. It was the freakiest thing ever. I might have closed the article because it just mentally bothered me. Oh, shit. It was something like you can keep your Henry Cavills and your Heath Ledgers. I want the rodents I'd like to fuck. And I'm just like, okay, that's a crime. Like, let's not do this as a civilization. First of all, it's not, I don't care who you are. It is not a compliment to compare a person to a rodent. It's just not. That is not a nice comparison. You could have found hundreds of other ways to describe somebody you think is physically attractive. Comparing them to vermin isn't it. Okay? I'm going to give you the list. So, the internet is assigning unusual labels to men again, this time by fawning over how rodent-like they are. Quote, hot rodent men, end quote, are apparently in season, according to a flurry of online articles and social media posts defining a new category of unconventionally attractive men. Now, we're going to talk about the unconventional part in a minute, because everybody they list has never been considered unconventionally attractive. These men tend to have more angular facial features. Wow, that's unusual. Beady eyes, kind of unusual, not really. Untidy hair, that's been the last decade of male fashion, and are often lankier than the typical Hollywood heartthrob. Again, not unusual. A lot of Hollywood heartthrobs, whatever you want to categorize that at, are not giant bodybuilders. They're guys like, they're more sort of on the androgyn. They're the Johnny Depps. They're the Orlando Blooms. They're the I'm trying to think of like attractive skinny guys. Jim Parsons. A lot of people, when Jim Parsons was on Big Bang Theory, he had a following, especially in the gay community. It's like, anyway, so no, you don't have to be a 250-pound muscle guy to be attractive in Hollywood. That's never been the case. There's always been exceptions to that. So anyways, blah, 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 blah. Okay, essentially, they have what could be described as vaguely rat-like facial features. The trend, however, has garnered some criticism online. Some internet users noted that even if terms like rodent are used with the intent to compliment, it can still be offensive to compare people to rats. Duh! Others pointed out that the men mentioned in these discourses almost always appear to be white. So we've found another way to elevate the white physical aesthetic above everyone else. That's not racist at all. Many are naming the likes of. Now listen, everybody I list, you're about to realize, it's like, no, they've been attractive in Hollywood, and that's why they have their job. Okay, here we go. Timothy Chalamet, Jeremy Allen White, Barry Keoghan, Mike Faced, Josh O'Connor, Maddie Healy. Nobody has ever been like, that's an ugly Hollywood celebrity. Like, these were guys that were traditionally considered attractive before comparing them to rats. This is so ridiculous. The idea gained traction after the April release of Challengers, which, by the way, fascinating concept for a movie, especially casting, oh my God, what's her name? Zendaya. Yeah, Zendaya. Which stars, who was it? Mike Faced and Josh O'Connor as the male protagonists involved in a love triangle with a former tennis star. The two were soon memed online after viewers noticed their supposed resemblance to mice, particularly cartoon ones like the guy on screen right now, Stuart Little. One viral X post noted that O'Connor looks like a very kind-hearted mouse who got turned into a prince, while another commented that Faced is what Stuart Little, the small animated mouse that stars in a popular children's movie series, would look like if he was human and hot. This is wrong. This is just wrong. Make it stop. Weeks after the initial Challengers hype, discourse about the hot rodent boyfriend, yes, that's a thing now, the hot rodent boyfriend began proliferating mainly through media outlets and tabloid headlines, which, by the way, the media should be ashamed of themselves. It even prompted debate within the New York Times Styles team, which ran an article analyzing who constitutes a rodent man. Stop it. Categorizing men into slightly obscure yet intuitive categories is a favorite internet pastime. One X post that sparked popular debate last year deemed men as falling into one of four categories, which, by the way, I missed this and I'm so glad I did. Apparently, it categorized heartthrobs into one of four categories: eagle handsome, bear handsome, dog handsome, or reptilian handsome. The fascinating thing about it, I'm going to bring this up. I think I am. Can I bring this up? Yes, here we go. Oh, there's the CNN headline. Okay, so what I just brought up on screen, this is a screenshot. I went into Microsoft Bing and I did a search for hot rodent trend, and it brought up all the news articles. I went to the news tab. Or no, actually it didn't. It just brought up the news anyway. One of them, this was the article that caught my attention. What is the hot rodent trend and how do men feel about it? I can answer on behalf of this man. I think it's ridiculous. Last year, the hottest male celebs were So Baby Girl, a gender-neutral term of endearment with no definition. By the way, if the word is baby girl, that's not gender-neutral. Just vibes. For a while, Golden Retriever boyfriends. I remember that one. Golden Retriever boyfriends, which were goofy, kind, and fiercely loyal, were the trendy archetype to covet. And prior to that, a slew of specific Hollywood casting choices and celebrity couples had made sickly, skinny white men distinctly desirable. Again, focusing on white dudes. Maybe Hollywood should learn from the past and stop doing that. Anyways, so look at the headlines here. Hot rodent boyfriend trend compares men to rats, but is that a compliment? No, it's not. I'm not reading that one on screen. Hot rodent boyfriend is not the compliment you think it is. That's on Yahoo News. CNN, men are being compared to rodents across the internet, but how do they feel about it? Bad. Fox News, Taylor Swift's ex leads fans' hot rodent men infatuation looks like cartoon mice. From USA Today, who are hot rodent men of the summer? Meet the internet's favorite type of, I don't know what the rest of that is. And then, of course, from the Daily Sun, give your guys a hot rodent boyfriend makeover like Barry Keoghan. No. What? No. Okay. So here's my thought. Okay. Here's my thought on this. Men have done stuff like this to women, especially industrially, and I mean that term very literally. Entire industries were built by men to subjectify, objectify, and genuinely physicalize women as nothing more than physical. Okay? This is doing the same crap. We're supposed to learn from history, not repeat it. I think it's terrible that we are taking these people and simply categorizing them based on the vermin they look like, which, no, I don't care how you say it. That's not a compliment. We need to stop doing this. Socially, I get the fun, but that's kind of like the fun of watching a train wreck without recognizing that people might be dead inside the train. It's like, oh, that's the cool part. It's like, no, there's dead people behind the cool part. Like, maybe think for longer than 2.5 seconds. If we could do that as a society, I think that would be fantastic. We need to spend more time thinking about what it means to somebody. And by the way, for every article that I read, every single one of them to try to figure out where was this going, what was it doing, the representatives for all of these celebrities would not comment. Not a one. I take it back. One rep actually said that their client isn't on social media, so they have no idea and they don't care. They're like, yeah, but our client's not on social, so no comment. So we really need to stop doing this to humans. We can compliment their work. We can criticize their work. We can compliment their political activism. We can criticize their political activism. But to simply denigrate them based on a comparison to an animal, it's not a compliment. It's just not. And we need to do less of that, eventually none of that, so that we feel better about ourselves and each other, and we're not simply saying you are what you look like. That's where I think we're going wrong. So that was my thought. You can go have yours. In the meantime, don't forget that we are going to be back on Twitch on Monday, which could be the day that you hear this live, or at least for the first time when it gets released on Spotify and iTunes and iHeart. And we've got the whiskey tasting stream. If you're not familiar with this, this was decided in the PJParty community. You've been asking for it for months. We are finally doing it. The whiskey tasting stream is going to be happening July 31st live on Twitch. It will not be anything involving Star Citizen. But I will be giving you a professional whiskey tasting for 4 different whiskeys. The community chose a theme of fruit harvest. So they're all going to be citrusy and cherry and just really wonderful fruit flavors in the single malt scotches. But we are doing the fun. So if you want to head over to Twitch, you can go into my chat and put !tip or !whiskey, and you'll get the information you need to contribute to that. We do need crowdfunding in order to raise the money to cover this event. So I hope you will contribute to that if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. I understand. But in the meantime, go have yourself a good morning, a good day, a good night, whatever it is for you. And I will see you next Monday live on Twitch. See ya!